We've seen how to navigate the timeline of a project, but movie clip symbols also have timelines, and we can navigate their timelines as well, even from the main timeline. In this project, I've got 4 frames, one that looks at the exterior of a house, the interior, the floor plan, and the location for a house that's up for sale. So 4 frames of our main timeline. Let me go ahead and run this. So I can click on the exterior button. I'm already on the exterior frame, so nothing happened. If I click interior, I go to view the interior. I can view the floor plan, and I can view the location. But let me go back to the interior. This picture here and its caption are part of a movie clip. And then I have 8 thumbnail images here that if I click any one of these, I can view that image. And what these buttons are doing for these thumbnails are navigating the timeline of this movie clip. Let's take a look at that. So that was on frame 2. Here's my movie clip object. I'm going to double click on it to burrow down into its timeline. So now I'm no longer looking at scene 1. I'm looking at the movie clip that is named Home Layered 500 by 330 PSD. It was a Photoshop file that I brought in and then added some captions at the bottom. So you'll see here, let me hide this layer. There is my images. These were simply layers in a Photoshop document, and when I brought them in, it created a timeline for me of each photo on one layer. It's a really nice way that Photoshop interacts with Flash. And then below that, I added my captions. So captions for each of the images. And then I have an action here, which is simply the stop command. If I didn't put that in, this movie clip would cycle through all the images very rapidly and would continue looping. So I always want a stop command there on the first frame to stop it on that very first frame. Let's go back to scene 1. So here are my buttons. This one's named Interior 1 underscore BTN, Interior 2 underscore BTN, Interior 3, Interior 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And on this frame, on the actions layer, I have another keyframe with more actions. And here are the event listeners for those 8 buttons. Adding an event listener, responding to a mouse click, and I'm going to a function called Go Interior 1, Go Interior 2, and so forth. And then I have those functions. Now my movie clip is named in the properties Interior underscore MC. I'm going to refer to this movie clip in code, so it's got to have an instance name. So Interior underscore MC. And the corresponding actions then on that frame refer to the movie clip itself, followed by a period, and then go to and stop on frame 1. So it's going to and stopping not on frame 1 of my main timeline, but of the timeline for my movie clip named Interior underscore MC. This one goes to the second frame, and then the third frame, and the fourth frame of that movie clip, and so forth. That is how we can navigate the timeline of a movie clip using those same functions we saw in the previous video, but placing in front of them the name of the movie clip whose timeline we are navigating. This would also work for a previous frame and next frame button if we wanted to navigate the timeline of that movie clip. We could use prev frame or next frame. Here's another example in which I have a movie clip of this game piece. I've named it game piece underscore MC. I'm going to double click on it to burrow down into it, and all it is the same game piece, just colored different colors. And I have a stop action here. And I also have labels. Red, green, blue, and so forth. Let's go back to our main timeline. I have here some buttons. These are simply rectangles that are turned into buttons. So I have red underscore BTN, green underscore BTN, blue underscore BTN, and so forth. Here are my actions. I've got event listeners for those 6 rectangular colored buttons. And each one calls a function such as go red, go green, go blue. The functions are all similar. So under go red, I am going to go to and stop on my frame named red, which is in my game piece underscore MC movie clip. So again, referring to the movie clip dot and then navigating its timeline. And this time I'm using labels rather than numbers. Then I also am setting the text of a text box. And the text box is down here below my buttons. It's a dynamic text box named mycolor underscore txt. And so each of those rectangular buttons sets the text of that text box. The text property is what is being shown in that text box. So the name of my text box, a dot, and the property I want to change, which is the text property, equals some new value. And so when I click the red button, what's going to show up in that text box is you chose the red game piece. When I click the green button, the text box will display you chose the green piece. And so forth through all of those 6 functions. Just changing basically the color content. Let me test this so you can see this run. So there's our green, blue, yellow, brown, gray, and back to red. Doesn't matter what order I choose any of these. I can now select any 6 of those colored game pieces. Movie clips are the basic building blocks for much greater complex applications in games and even complex animations. Being able to navigate their timeline gives us a lot of power.